Feeling we're really growing up around here. Yes, believe it or not, let's talk with Tampa Bay wide receiver Mike Evans. He was asked if the Bucs team is different than the one that already faced New Orleans twice this season. Take a listen.
Our roster, I feel like it's the most talented roster in the league. But as a team, we started off as a good team because, we just have a lot of great players on our team. But now we're forming into a great team. And we know we just got to keep going each week and battling and finding ways to get better and finding ways to win tough games.
Thanks, Mike Evans, one of our favorite guys in the National Football League, giving us our first Believe It or Not. Do the Buccaneers have the most talented roster in the league? Do you believe that, Kyle?
Mike's got a little edge on him. This is about to be a game. This is going to be emotional. Yeah, we'll get into that too. I think that their Bucs roster is incredibly talented. We've called it a greatest hits compilation for a while. They've taken a big piece and put them together. But I think the most talented roster is the one that Mike Evans is playing this weekend. I think it's the Saints. I think it's an original album that is homegrown. The Saints have 11 first-round picks, 11 to the Bucs 9. Just for a sake of comparison, the Kansas City Chiefs have 5. Now, it's not all about first-round picks, but I think the reason maybe the Saints go a little under the radar is that 3 of their first-round picks are on the offensive line. 7 of them are on the defense. You only get 11 starters on defense. They have 7 of them. So they have that many first-round picks. That does not include Breeze, Thomas, Kamara, Taysom, Sanders,
None of those guys
Mario.
If
none of them are even part of the 11. I think they are an absolute beast in terms of their talent. They draft well, the defense, the offense, all across the board. And I think Mike Evans is going to be very emotional about that on the field this week.
Saints,
I think it's the Saints.
Only team with a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense left in the tourney.
I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. We just talked about it in the first segment of the show. Do these guys get enough respect? So we're talking about the most talented team, and we're not talking about a team that's loaded from top to bottom. Quarterback play has been phenomenal. We know that. Wide receiver, incredible, led by Tyreek Hill, who's more dangerous. And Travis Kelce is hands down the best tight end in all of football. Defensively, we don't give them credit. And without their defense, I don't believe they win a Super Bowl. Oh, and not to mention, if we're including the roster, the head coach is on the roster, right? That's how it works. When you look at the roster, they put head coaches on there.
Sure.
Is that correct?
Yeah, it's right on top.
Okay, right at the top. So Andy Reid, all the way down to the bottom to everybody else in that roster.
Interesting.
For me, this is the most talented squad, hands down. I can care less about numbers and stats and rankings. When you look on paper and then you match on paper to the field, they show up week in and week out.
On paper. And I thought Mike Evans was actually really eloquent about it. I don't think he was. I thought he was beautiful what he's saying. He's like, on paper, we have the best roster in football. And I think he's right. On paper, they've got the best roster. He's like, at first we weren't a team, we were just a bunch of names. Now we're becoming a team, and that's why we're playing better. Look at all these household names on this team.
You going with Bucs?
Look at these Bucs. These are all superstars. These are guys we grew up with. This is like Brady and Gronk and Shady and Shaq Barrett leading the league in sacks last year. Doesn't get mentioned. Antonio Brown was one of the best wide receivers ever.
Peter, can I count a lot of names on that list? Like, isn't there best football behind them?
Hey, they might have one last crack at it, or maybe a couple last cracks.
How many not New Jerseys is on there?
That's a good question.
Look, Jason Pierre-Paul's pretty good this year.
Yeah,
and Dominican Sue's pretty good this year. Evans, Godwin's young. Like, I just look at a lot of famous people right there. And you say,
it is.
On paper, who's got the most talent in football? You've got a couple Hall of Famers in Brady and Gronk. You've got an argument to be made for Antonio Brown. You've got an argument to be made if he continues on this path for, of course, Mike Evans.
Maybe even Sue.
And Sue and JPP are really good.
It's a freaking Met Gala, Peter.
That right there, that is a superstar lineup. So I'll say this: best roster in football. I don't think Andy Reid is going to be outcoached by Arians tomorrow, and I don't think that Brady's necessarily going to outthrow Rodgers or Mahomes. Best roster by name? The Buccaneers. They're the best roster.
I don't know who to pick. At GMFB, let us know what you guys think. Did you guys consider depth when it came to that? You did, obviously. Did you consider depth when it came to Tampa Bay?
Antonio Brown's their 3rd wide receiver,
Not bad as far as the wideouts are concerned. Okay, let's go over to the AFC, guys. The Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski, of course, missed last week. He's expected off the COVID list and back in action with his team this weekend as the Browns take on the Chiefs at Arrowhead, no less. Okay, Stefanski addressed his plan for managing the clock against Kansas City.
I think the focus just has to be on playing our brand of football. And that's complementary football, Tony. So to your point, obviously you're always trying to help out either side, and you're trying to play the field position game at times. But I think definitely our focus offensively is to go play our brand of football.
Yeah. It's like, who is
Okay, I'm uncomfortable. Let's get
handsome guy.
You guys love Kevin Stefanski.
George Clooney of coaches.
Looking like a snack.
Believe it or not, no lies detected. Clock management and establishing the run game will be the key to defeating the Chiefs. Nate, you just talked about this.
No lies detected? That was just okay.
I thought I was going to slide it.
Excuse me. Let me take a sip right there. Listen, it's not about clock management. It's about stop management. Stopping the run for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
You have to force Kansas City to run. You can't pick your poison. This isn't, all right, you know what? We're facing the Chiefs. Let's go man to man. You're toast. All right, we're facing the Chiefs. Let's go zone. You're toast. How about you just try to force them to run the rock? And with the injury of Clyde Edwards-Helaire and now Le'Veon having to take on more of the responsibility, I feel like that's going to be the key. Now, Le'Veon, this is your life. This is what you were brought here to do. This is why you didn't work out with the Jets, because this is your moment. You
Didn't
can
want to sign with
recapture
the Steelers?
all of the magic. In this postseason, you can recapture all the magic and respect if you hold down the fort. But if I'm the Browns, I am forcing these guys to run. I don't want them to throw against me.
You know what's crazy? Damian Williams opted out because of COVID-19, and then Duvernay Tardif did, and like the Chiefs went on this crazy tear. They could use Damian Williams so much this weekend.
Gosh.
And like
There's no opting in, Schrager?
We haven't mentioned his name in 6 months.
I totally forgot about that.
Big game Dame. You can't opt back in. And I wonder where he is. I wonder if he's watching. Like, let me back in. But that's the rules.
Crazy.
To beat the Chiefs, you need a freak thing to happen. Honestly, I feel like that's what it takes. And the Texans almost beat the Chiefs in the playoffs last year when they got a 24-0 lead before squandering it. And how they do that, it took some crazy special teams muffs and miscues by Kansas City. I think you need one of these, honestly. I'm not saying they're unbeatable, just straight up, but these certainly help. This was last year. Tyreek Hill. This is what you learn in 5th grade. Don't do this on the 5-yard line. You don't try to field a punt because that could happen. And then, of course, Colquitt, who is punting, gets one blocked also by the Houston Texans.
They're supposed to lose this game.
They were down 24-0 and they won by 20.
You're showing this nonsense in a game that they won.
They won by 20. But this is what you need to even be competitive, I think. I don't think you beat them straight up in a playoff game if they've had a week to prepare. Colquitt actually is back with the team, which is kind of a cool story. He was a longtime Chiefs punter, got released. They went with Thompson, and then they recently added Colquitt back, which is kind of cool, and for special teams reasons might play a role. So I think you need a freak special teams accident, not even a touchdown. You just need them to mess up. I know it sounds like it's a big thing to ask for.
No, it is. Peter, are you a big fan of Austin Reiter? Austin Reiter is the Chiefs center. I highly doubt that on the first play of the game, he's going to snap it 10 feet over Patrick Mahomes' head. I don't think the Browns are going to get what they got last week. But I also think you can't count on a freak turnover. Again, what you got to do, how about just a good old-fashioned, conventional, old-fashioned turnover?
Oh, please.
How about Patrick Mahomes throws an interception?
No.
What? Struck by lightning. They need this. Patrick Mahomes is capable of it. He threw one against the Raiders in the game they lost, his first one of the season. Here he is getting picked off in the end zone. I went back and I watched the cut-up of the Raiders-Chiefs, the game they lost this year.
Yeah.
The Chiefs were up 21-10. They're cruising. Yeah. Like, it kind of just fell apart, and then he got picked off. The Raiders did it. The Dolphins did it a couple times. Dolphins did it 3 times. Guys, get a pick from Mahomes. Get a strip sack. I don't think you can win if Mahomes does not turn the ball over. Maybe twice. So, yes, I would love the drop punts if you're a Browns fan. Yeah. How about just a good old-fashioned interception? How about Denzel Ward steps in front of one and jumps? I mean, is that blasphemy?
And hold on to it.
Hey! Yes.
And hold on to it, right? How many dropped picks?
Like a 50.
For Mahomes. Like basically 50 this